Yo, it's me again. I know it's been a while, it's been a couple months since I've done a video, but I'm releasing a new sample pack and I thought this would be a good opportunity to come back to YouTube and record a video breaking down another sample of mine. It's also, I think it's a good thing to come back from time to time to like record my new process and see how I've changed things. I was watching those old videos like from like a year ago or something. I think I do kind of different things right now. As I said, I'm releasing a new sample pack, but I'm not here to sell your products. If you want to check that out, the link is gonna be in the description. It's called Cinema. But if you don't, it's okay. You can just lay back and watch this video. Today I brought this sample called Valencia that I did I think a week ago or something, and I think this is a good sample to exemplify some of how I changed my process in that year, or maybe I didn't. I don't know. We're gonna see. But as always, let's listen to the sample in full, and then I'm gonna come back and break it down. So let's hear it. Let's see how it sounds. Okay, so this is a sample. I think this is a good one to exemplify a little bit what I've changed in that year. Like I said, I was watching the old videos, and back then I used to do much more complex stuff. And by complex, I mean like more layers and more effects. I don't have any rules on how I do music. If I want to have more layers, I would do. But recently, from a couple months to now, I've been doing more simple projects. So this is like 7 layers, 6 layers if you count the vocals as one. And I think this is just enough stuff. Something that you have to keep in mind when making a sample is that this is like a quarter of a song. Like I'm gonna send this to someone's gonna add drums to this, which is gonna make it more complex, like more full of in a full music context. And then someone else is gonna lay vocals on this, and like lead vocals and like harmonies. It's gonna make it way more complex with like reverbs and delays for the vocals. I'm not adding a bunch of stuff. Sometimes I even go onto the master or like something like that and add like a filter to filter out the higher frequencies to have more space for like the vocals or something. I think it's a good example of that. It's just simple. It's a couple chords, a couple melodies, and it's done. I start with the chords as I often do. And as y'all know, I think I've been doing this for a while. I export everything to audio. So I have like a folder full of MIDIs. Like you're gonna see this in every single one of my projects. Whenever I lay something out, I export it to audio and throw the MIDI in here. And the reason why I do it is because you have way more control over your sound when you're working with audio. The MIDI, I don't remember if I said this before, but I think it's always good to reemphasize. The MIDI is just a trigger. It's just a trigger to the VST. Let's say I make this, for example, I recently switched computers, right? Let's say I had this on a VST and now a year later I'm on another computer. Maybe I don't have that VST anymore and I'm just gonna have a MIDI track with no audio. I cannot play that back. Also, if I want to go in here and like reverse this and like, I don't know, like deactivate this and add like a fade to this, like doing this with MIDI, it's impossible. So I just like to keep everything on audio. What I'm seeing here, like these waveforms are exactly what's gonna play back to my ears every single time. It doesn't change because of the VST, or maybe it's like you have a compatibility issue like a month or a year later. So I have to have everything on audio. Especially because Ableton, I know that FL been doing that now with the new 21 version. When I save a project on Ableton, I have all the different samples that I record and everything. Like if I open this on like the file explorer, you're gonna see, but I have all the audio on that project. So if I had that folder of that project, I can open that project like anywhere. So this is basically why I exported things to audio. So I began with these chords, with these strings that I use the SRX strings plugin from Roland to play. So let me just open the chords. These are the chords. As y'all can see, I grabbed this from Scalar. I've been using Scalar recently to jumpstart ideas. So these are basically two chords that I grabbed from Scalar. And then like these variations, I did this. I just clicked it in. You can see like most of everything. It's on the same velocity. So yeah, I've been using Scalar recently. So I have these strings, and something that I don't do often, but it happened here, is that I don't have a single effect on this strings track, which is kind of crazy. It's really rare for me to not put anything, not even like a single EQ, but looking at it now, I just think it just sounds so good out of the box. After that, I added a Rhodes from my favorite Rhodes sounds plugin. It's called Rhodes Affair 2. I've seen Game 1 using this plugin, and this is how I found out about it. It's just really cool sounds. It just sounds really good. So every time that I need, road sounds, I go to this plugin. And I didn't change the MIDI, so the MIDI on this plugin, it's exactly that same one with like all the notes playing at the same time and all the velocities at the same time. I have a Wolf compressor, Pro Q, cutting the lows, reels, micro shifts, just a little bit wider. And Valhalla Vintage Verb, which is my favorite reverb plugin. After that, I probably did the bass. So this is how the bass sounds. just playing the root notes, the stimity for the bass. Now I remember looking at this, I've played a live bass on this. I think this is actually another pitch. I think it's the same pitch, but I didn't like it, so I just used this is also my go-to for basses, the SH2 from Roland. And this is like my favorite preset from that. It just sounds really good, so. Especially for that like 80s, 90s synth bass sound. After that, I've done this like little melody that goes on top. This is probably, and the reason why I say like probably, you see that I don't have like the name of the VSCs in here too, is because I don't. This is another thing why I like working with audio, is that I forget about stuff. So usually when way back when I was working mostly with MIDI and I left everything with me on MIDI, I would find, let's say, like a really good bass, and every single time I would use that same sound. So when I'm working with audio, one of the reasons why I do it is because I render it out, I delete the VSC instance, and then I forget. Obviously, I have like my favorite sounds. If you go on my analog lab, you're gonna see that I have favorite sounds, but I like to forget like the name of this preset. I don't remember. So if I had to like go back to SRX strings, I don't know what this preset is. And that's gonna make me look into more stuff and find new sounds. It's something, that I've been doing for a while, and I think it kind of helps for you to not get stuck using the same fucking sound, because I was definitely doing that. Like I would find like a really good lead sound and I would always use that sound. But this is probably from Solina. This is a great plugin for top lines. It's a great plugin for like top lines, strings, and this sound is probably from Solina. I added a VOOV compressor. I've been using VOOV compressor on everything. Shaper box for like my panning. People sometimes ask how I do my panning. It's really simple. I just use Shaper box, but you can use Bandman from Soundtoys. And I think that these guys, Cable guys, they have a free plugin called Pancake. I think it's from them, which is basically the same thing as this like module from Shaperbox. What I do is that I use this curve. I usually put it on 1.5 bars, which is like a dotted time signature, and then I just blend in with the mix. So it's not 100% going to the left to the right, but it's just kind of, moving. And when I have like two different sounds, I would do this exact thing, but I would go in here and flip vertical. So while one is on the right side, the other one's on the left side. So this is how I do like 99% of my panning stuff. The only thing that I've done here is put it an octave below on the other section. After I had this is like done, right? I could just export this and it's okay. It's a sample that someone can flip and, make it into a new thing. I wanted to keep going just to try new stuff, and I added this lead sound. And as you can imagine, I just play this on my keyboard. Exported to audio. This is the CZ plugin from Mercuria. Also, a really good plugin too for like 80s, 90s sounds. So I just played that lead, pretty simple. Again, Wolf compressor, Pro Q3, just cutting the lows, micro shift for a little chorus effects. The utility is just putting the gain up a little bit. Again, Shaper Box with the panning, Echo Boy for some delay, and Valhalla, which is my favorite reverb. After that, I went into Splice to try and find some cool vocals, and I found this, which is crazy, and it fits so well with the rest of the sample. This is such a crazy vocal. How I usually find vocals on Splice, this is something that people often ask me to. Usually what I do is that I have the Splice app open, and if you're going to browse, they always have this section, what's new. So this is like the newest packs, and I always go through them when I'm like making stuff and I'm like finishing stuff, and I'm trying to find like a little vocal to add, something like that. For example, Soul Surplus is a really good label from Splice that makes stuff. So I would see like this is a new pack from them. There's probably vocals in here. So I just play this shit. Splice has this bridge plugin that you can put in your DAW, and then it syncs with your DAW. So I just go and play samples, listen to a lot of stuff until I find something that I like. So I found this. This is how it sounds raw with nothing on it.
Hey girl, I've seen you there, waiting for your friend, or just some other man you wanna love tonight. That you wanna love tonight, yeah. Hey girl, I've seen you there.
This is really cool. Ableton has a lot of different like stretching algorithms, and this beats algorithm, it's mostly for like drum breaks and beats and stuff. It's not particularly good with stretch notes. So the vocal sounds like trash.
Hey girl, I've seen you there.
But I think that adds up to like the vintage, like broken kind of sound. So I added little Ultra Boy on top of that.
Hey girl, I've seen you there, waiting for your friend, or just some other man. Hey girl, I've seen
Sooth, which is an insane plugin. You need to try Sooth if you don't have it.
Hey girl, I've seen you there, waiting for your friend.
Sooth just cleans up the sounds, like that the harshness from like the vocals and everything, especially because it's going through that beats like algorithm stretching thing, and also Ultra Boy. It cleans up a lot of that. Micro shifts.
Hey girl, I've seen you there, waiting for your friend, or just some other man you wanna love tonight.
And on top of it, I have another Pro Q3 with nothing on it. Valhalla Vintage Verb with a really aggressive reverb. There's a lot of reverb in here. And a sidechain, I used the Shaper Box to just have a little sidechain effect. So this is. But I just have it on like 29. It's barely noticeable, but it adds like a little bit of rhythm to the sound. I love doing stuff like this, like just putting a little side chain at the very end of your vocal chain, just to add a little bit of rhythm. The only thing that I did is that I copied this over, and then I brought this down probably an octave, right? Yeah, an octave. The original pitch of this vocal is 5 semitones below, so I had to put it 5 semitones up. This track, he did this with Little Ultra Boy, so this one I'm just bringing it down 7 semitones to match the same pitch. know, this vocal, it's insane, but it has a couple pockets. Like you can actually like visually see like this little moments where there's nothing going on. And I thought that a counter melody to that would be cool. So I used this saxophone from this patch on Contacts called Sensual Saxophone. I've seen Eziba use that probably a while ago, like a year, 2 years ago. That saxophone sound from that patch is insane. It's so good, and I always use it whenever I need a saxophone sound. It's always that same patch, and this is how it sounds. Such a simple melody, such a simple thing. If I've done this like a year or 2 years ago, I would add like so many like melodies and little stuff. Like this is just a little sprinkle on top, just to like make it a little bit fuller. You don't need a lot of tracks. I haven't been doing a lot of tracks, and I think this is like a really good example. These two tracks, they're basically the same. They work well with each other as like one single like block of sounds, and you can see that I haven't like solo any of those two in the entire sample, so they're always playing together. This vocal, you can call it a melody in this section. And this is like 4 different notes. You need to think there's gonna be like a whole like drum beat on top of this, vocals on top of this. So I've been keeping shit simple. On the master, I have this soft clip on, which I usually don't even have. I just left this on by accident. Auto key, because I needed to find the key of the vocal, and this black box design, which was free for a while on the Plugin Alliance website. It might be free still, and I always use this at the end of everything that I do. At the end of my samples, I always use this at the end of my samples. Just a little bit of saturation, a little bit of this pencil thing, and I put the input back just a little bit, and it just adds a little bit more warmth and everything. So this is basically it. As I said, I just released a new sample pack called Cinema. It's available on a lot of ideas right now. If you want to check that out, it's in the description. If you don't, it's completely okay. I hope this was helpful in any way, shape, or form. And I don't know when I'm gonna be back here, but I hope to see y'all soon. And bye.